invented what when. We're going to cover 3 trivial items, but they are of vital importance to us, in our school and everyday lives. The first is, oops, oh dear, my fly's undone. Yes, you guessed it, the zipper. The zipper was invented by a man named Whitcomb Judson in 1893. It's a good thing he didn't decide to call it the Whitcomb Judson. For the zipper, we used laces, hooks, and buttons to keep our clothing on and keep our bags closed. My opinion is that Judson made the zipper because he wanted to get dressed and undressed quicker. He must have been very short of time. Did you know that this mechanism has barely changed from 1893 to 2013? That's 120 years. So, since the zipper, we can get dressed and undressed quicker. But there was another problem with clothing. They used to have a lot of ink stains from leaky pens. Which brings me to my next great invention, the ballpoint pen. Believe it or not, the ballpoint pen was invented during the Second World War by a man named Laszlo Biro. Many people in this room will be aware that we actually used to call them biros. Before Biro's great invention, fountain pens or pencils were used. Fountain pens used to leak at high altitudes, and pencils were notorious for not being permanent, and therefore could not be used in a legal sense. So Biro came up with a better alternative by putting a tiny ball bearing in the nib of the pen and making the ink thick. No more leaks, and they glide across paper. Oh, and I should tell you my favourite fact about pens. Normal biros don't work in space because they need gravity. The Americans invested a lot of time and money in making the pressurized space pen. The Russians, well, they just used a pencil. So they used a lot of ballpoint pens for the first time in the war. And what's the other thing they need a lot of in the war? Bandages. Which leads me to my next great invention, the Band-Aid. Turns out that the invention of the humble Band-Aid was considered to be a great development in medical history. In 1921, the inventor, Earl Dixon, was a cotton buyer for Johnson & Johnson. It also turns out that Dixon's wife, who loved to cook, was rather accident-prone, regularly cutting and burning her hands. These 2 facts helped Dixon to put a piece of Johnson & Johnson gauze on a piece of Johnson & Johnson tape, thus creating the first Johnson & Johnson Band-Aid, which became Johnson & Johnson's biggest selling product. Interestingly, sales were slow until Johnson & Johnson started giving them away to Boy Scouts. So I hope all your zippers stay done up, all your pens don't leak, and I hope you won't have to use many Band-Aids. Thank you.